What's up, rock fans? Chris back here in the Rock and Roll Garage. Doing a little hell raising, some Motorhead. That's right. And I can only play this for so long before, you know, shit starts happening. So I'll mute that and just let Lemmy play in the background. You can obviously imagine that this is probably a fucking great rock and roll show right now. Jay Leno, actually. Motorhead was on Jay Leno, which I actually did not know. But kudos to them. Playing Hellraiser, probably one of my favorite songs from Motorhead and Lemmy. Obviously, Ozzy covered the same song. And there's like a duet where they smashed the two songs together where Ozzy and Lemmy are singing together. Great song. I think Motorhead did it for the Hellraiser soundtrack. I'm not sure which Hellraiser. There were so many. But definitely, you probably remember it for sure. So, yeah. So what I thought I would talk about tonight is rock and roll music, being uncompromising about your music. Obviously, Lemmy was uncompromising about his music and what he did. I think there's definitely, that rock and roll outlaw in Motorhead. He always said, he's like, obviously I'm a metal fan, that's how I discovered Motorhead. There's punk fans who discovered Motorhead. And we all met in the middle on Motorhead. Because Lemmy always said, we're Motorhead and we play rock and roll, which that's what he did. That's what they did. They played rock and roll music, which was awesome. So let's get into the corporate machine, talk about, obviously I was working on some stuff with the Four Horsemen and talking about, maybe some music that you missed, which actually did pretty well. I'm not gonna lie to you, it worked out. And didn't get any copyright strikes, so that was great. I obviously just made enough of the clips to get it right. But then I was gonna talk about another band, Urban Dance Squad, and I had using my TV, I don't know, this is not a professional operation, I'm just kind of using what's at hand, because that's what rock and roll does. They use shit that's at hand and make good stuff. So I'm kind of in that vein, but anyway, I posted that and got copyright strike, so I took that down before it got published, because I don't want to get a bunch of copyright strikes on YouTube, absolutely, because that'll screw you. But when it comes down to it, when I think about like other YouTubers who talk about music and put their videos up, and a few of them that has had problems with record labels not supporting them, I look at it, they talk about fair use. Obviously there's fair use. Personally myself, I'm not here to like rob the artists of music, of what they've done. I definitely want people to get their fair share, but when it comes down to it, I really think the artists are only getting a fraction of what the record companies are getting from going after these other YouTubers who do, videos about music and talk about music and get their copyright strikes and try to attack them. But so what I think, the corporate machine needs to look at as far as fair use goes is that they should start thinking about, we're fans. We're fans, we love it. We're only promoting the artists that we love. And we're not trying to screw anybody out of any money. We're trying to, personally myself, I'm trying to promote bands that maybe you never heard, or bands that you love, bands that, came and went, but they were great. So I understand record companies need to make money. Songwriters need to make money. We all need to make money. I get it. It's the almighty dollar. That's what we need. That's absolutely what we all want. I want to promote the artist, not trying to steal from them, not trying to take their copyrighted material, but definitely promote them. So that, there's music that you have not heard. Isn't that the greatest thing? Isn't that what music's about? Telling your friends about what music's about, telling them how, like, you've heard this band and like, wow, man, you should check these guys out. So I'm not here to screw anybody. I want the artists to make all the money they can. I want the record companies to make money too. I get it. It's a business. It's not show friends, it's show business. We get it. Let's make money. Let the YouTubers promote these bands. Maybe just because one guy talked about a band on their podcast and said, hey, you should check these out. Well, bang. Now you've upped the views. You've upped the views for the artist. You've lined your pockets a little bit more. You've lined the artist's pockets. You've lined the band's pockets. But today we know that there's not a lot of money to be made in selling records, But there is streaming. I think the artists deserve more. I think the record companies figured out how to, get their cut before the artist, because that's always been kind of their deal. I'm not bagging on record companies and not being a business, but still, these guys need to be promoted. We're promoting your bands. We're promoting your band for more airplay, for something that maybe nobody heard, and they get the opportunity to hear this band again. So I keep playing Lemmy in the background because he was always uncompromising and he wanted to do what he wanted to do. God bless him. God bless him. Was he a darling in the record community or the record company community? Probably not, because he was pretty much like, fuck you, I'm gonna make this music and this is what we're doing. Either you like it or don't. The fans will respond. The fans will definitely respond. You can make the band, you can break the band. Who knows? So that's kind of my deal with like trying to, with this YouTube channel and trying to figure out what I'm trying to do with it. I guess I'm getting down to like just actually, I'm pretty much promoting, really, and it's free promotion. Why wouldn't you want free promotion? If I've done something wrong, I'll definitely not post it. I'll definitely, run it through the old YouTube algorithm to make sure that I haven't done anything wrong. And if there's something wrong, I'm gonna take it down, because I'm not trying to fuck the record company. I'm just trying to fuck the artist. I'm just trying to, make things fun. I don't know what Conan's got going on here. Well, you got some more Lemmy from Conan O'Brien, which obviously Conan would be a huge fan. I don't know if I'm gonna get copyrighted strike because there's like not any sound behind it. Maybe because it's, well, let's just turn it off. Just in case. Like I said, this is not a professional operation. I'm doing the best I can. Back to Here It Is Rock Talks. There you go. I think I own that. I don't know. AI, I think, owns that. But this is actually, a good friend of mine's guitar, a musician. He built this. He put these humbuckers in this guitar and created his own guitar. Like, musicians who create music. He's created a lot of music. There are a lot of musicians out there who create music. We're going to get into, my next phase of, I guess, podcasting and music is the press play thing that I'm getting involved in as far as a music mosaic. Again, I've talked about this before, about, they're creating a platform where we're going to connect, music professionals, artists, bands, fans, podcasters, anybody that can, who wants to promote music. And I think that's the most important thing. So I'm really excited. I'm going to go into like a little onboarding phase on Monday. with Press Play, where we're going to get taught how to kind of navigate the site. So really looking forward to that. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I'll keep you guys updated as far as what's going on is with Press Play. I think it's going to be well, it could be the right thing at the right time. I think, you know, music needs more right now. I think, you know, that's what's missing in the world is music. You know, bands out there creating stuff, doing stuff. And I just want to, you know, be there helping the next generation get out there and promote their music. I mean, you know, obviously I'm an old rock and roller. I do love my old rock and roll, but I'm definitely always waiting for the next thing. Saw the Post Malone, you know, Grammy performance of War Pigs. I thought that was pretty awesome. Give it up for Young Blood for, you know, carrying the rock and roll torch. I'm not 100% familiar with him, but obviously he's trying to, you know, carry on the torch that is rock and roll, and we should support that. Because if we don't, then we're losing. We're losing the rock and roll battle. Don't let the corporate machine take you down. You know, I think there's more musicians out there trying to do their own thing and continue on. Well, that'd be great. Anyway, so I just kind of rambled on for quite a long time. Probably chop this up into a couple videos. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted strike on too much. You can see it all. But that's all I got for right now. Appreciate you all listening. Peace.